Stay right there because today I'm in conversation with Stan Slap. He has over 24-year experience, worked with 44 countries, and he also worked with very top consulting organizations, Google, HBC, Intel, Microsoft, Standard Chartered Bank of America, Time Warner, Viacom, and Vodafone, the kinds of companies that does not include patience on their list of corporate values. So we are going to learn many things. Stan is a New York Times best-selling author and renowned thought leader in how to achieve maximum commitment from managers, employees, and customer culture. He's also CEO of global consulting company called SLAP. That's by remarkable coincidence. He's going to tell us about that as well. So if you are a big company owner, CEO, and you are looking to enhance productivity on managers, employees, and create a customer-based culture, stay right here because we are going to dig deep into these values. His corporate biography says Stan is intent on making profound difference in the world before he is forcibly removed from it. Today, Stan is intent on making a profound difference in the world. Buckle up, we are going off the road. So that was his introduction. Please help me welcome Stan Slap. Welcome, Stan.
How are you this morning?
Wonderful. Let me
Good.
start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who are you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Um, when I had run a number of companies, and when I started my own, when we started, we were just an unguided missile. We didn't know what we wanted to do. We just wanted to be doing something. But I did know two things. I knew that I wanted us to be a great company. Otherwise, what's the point in even doing anything if you're not going to be great at it? And I wanted to make sure that what we sold to others, you couldn't buy anyplace else. If you weren't buying it from us, that's a problem we'd have to solve. But I didn't want to get into RFPs and margin shredding competitive battles. So um, I think great companies are driven by passion, a hardcore point of view about what's right with the world that must be protected and wrong with the world that must be corrected. And to me, the worst thing one human being can do to another, short of killing somebody, is to make them feel small, to say you're not, you can't, you won't. And so the passion that drove our company in the earliest days and drives us today is that nobody should be diminished by business, working in it or buying from it. And that led us to culture, which is where the humans gather in business. And we felt then, and that's worked very well for us, if we can reposition these three cultures, a company's three cultures, manager, employee, and customer, back to the company as newly precious workable assets, will cause the company to protect them, because the company will protect anything that's an asset, especially if they just learn to gain more from it. You can't protect these three assets without protecting the humanity they represent, and without discovering or rediscovering your own humanity as an enterprise. So that's where it started, and I was surrounded by the first team in the company. We've had people working for us for many, 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 many years. Not all of that initial team is there, but I was surrounded by a bunch of like-minded, like-hearted people who were willing to saddle up and ride.
What are top three mistakes to avoid?
Well, again, my company's business, the work that I do, that we do, is all about maximizing commitment in the three groups that decide the success of your company, which is your manager culture, your employee culture, and your customer culture. So I would say the mistakes to believe anything is the culture's fault if the culture's not giving you what you want. Your culture will give you whatever you want. You just have to give it what it wants first. That a successful strategy is planned well. It's not. A successful strategy is implemented well. That's up to your culture to decide. A brand is a verb. It's not. A brand is a tribute that has to be given to you by your internal and customer cultures. And I would add one more thing, that leadership is a position. It's not. Leadership is a purpose that drives a process, but nobody's a leader by position alone.
Wow. What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
We don't have enough time to list my greatest. I mean, it's in categories, but I would say one certainly is years ago in the company, we were just reeling from just horrible hiring decisions, especially in executive positions, and those decisions were made by me. And coincidentally or not, we also had taken on some clients that it seemed their entire mission and purpose as a company was to fight against the recommendations they were paying us to give them. And we couldn't have made them successful no matter how hard we tried. And we tried. They really didn't want it. I don't know why they hired us. So anyway, we evolved something in the company that came to be known as the 3 C's, and it's the absolute criteria for anybody that we hire, so that works for us, that we work for, that we work with. It's uncompromising, and the first C is character. If you did not learn integrity and accountability and positivity and empathy at your mama's knee, then I feel sorry for you. But we're not going to do without those things in our company, and we're not going to take the burden on of teaching them to adults. You have to come to us with those things. The second is competency. You have to want to be great at what you do. If you work for us, if we work for you. Now, if you really want to be great at what you do, you know that that's a process. That's a journey rather than a destination. So people want to be great at what they do, are always eager to learn, always curious, always open to feedback, always are healthily critical of their own work, not of other people's work. But you have to want to be great at what you do. And the third C is commitment. If you are a client of ours, or if you are an employee working in our company, or a contractor vendor, we will expend unlimited energy to make you successful, to support you. And we never resent that. We never question it. The only thing that we will not do is constantly apply energy to drag your whiny butt along with us. So you have to have your own energy as well. And as soon as we instituted those 3 C's as our criteria for who we worked with and who worked for us, even though we had to leave some executive positions open for, in one case, almost 2 years, the team we finally got to augment the team we had is spectacular. And we had to fire one very large client. It was the best thing that we could have done, because we were never going to make them successful, and it was dragging down our own culture. So I would say that mistake of not having a strict criteria that works for you about who you're going to work with and who's going to work with you was a huge mistake for me, and that's what I corrected.
Wonderful. We are entering into a speed round, short questions and quick answers. Are you ready for it?
The longer round was the one we just did? Really? Okay. I will answer you in acronyms then. We just save time. Okay, go ahead.
What is the most impactful business book you read, and what did you learn from it?
Well, I'm talking from my home library, which has got over 5,000 books in it. So it's a tricky question, but I would say I don't read a lot of business books. I've written New York Times best-selling business books. I have a number of people I know who've written them, and I respect them all. But I tend to read fiction, and that's where I get a lot of business lessons. So I'll give you three real quick, since I have so many to choose from. I had no particular order. This one is called The Long Goodbye. This is available in many editions. This book taught me about the honor in business, unimpeachable integrity and commitment to your client. This is, you don't have to read all of this. Is the expanded edition, which thousands of pages, but there's a smaller one which is only like 1,500 pages. This is called so that was called The Long Goodbye by Raymond Chandler, the first book. This is called Tune In, and I'm a big music guy, and this is the story, the true story of how the Beatles actually made it before their talent was so apparent. What happened behind the scenes to create an army of evangelists that supported that band and allowed them to pursue an uncompromising vision. So Tune In by Mark Lewison, The Long Goodbye by Raymond Chandler, and this book, The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, taught me about the importance of protecting humanity in business, regardless of what form that humanity appears in.
Stan, thank you. I know you are best New York Times best-selling author. We would love to see your book and why people should read it.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I have a 3-book deal with Penguin. If they ask you, I would have finished the 3rd book if I didn't have to be on this interview. Okay. All right. So, but I've written the first 2 already. This is called Bury My Heart at Conference Room B. And this one is called Under the Hood. And this book is about how to achieve maximum commitment from a manager culture. It's emotional commitment, worth more than its financial, intellectual, and physical commitment combined. This book is the operating system that busts all the myths about culture, will show you how a culture really works and how to get yours to really work for you. 2 incredibly pithy reads, if I do say so myself.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Well, I want to be remembered for making I want to be remembered for being a great father, a great partner, a great friend, a great boss. But I want to be remembered for making the business case for humanity. If we lose humanity in business, we're all doomed. When we save it, company by company, manager by manager, we've saved ourselves.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
Well, I'd say where I typically start is identifying what is the problem that really needs to be solved. I do this for strategies. I do it personally. I start on the right side of the equal sign. If you can accurately identify what the problem is you're trying to solve, which isn't always the obvious one, then the left side of the equal sign is just math. It's a series of resources that you've got to stop doing this, start doing that, do more of this, do less of that. If you start on the left side, you'll be very busy, but you'll just stay on the left side. So I always start with what is the problem that must be solved. And that's led me to the best solutions.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
I don't have to convince her. She trusts me.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
I don't have any particular desire or capacity to grow up.
What are you grateful for today?
Another chance. Another chance to get it right, another chance to practice empathy, kindness, respect, another chance to be trusted, to care about what matters most, to give back for all the gifts that I've been given, to try and make the world both a better place and not a worse one.
Who is your mentor, and what is the impact they have on you?
Well, I'm surrounded. We do business, as you mentioned, all over the world. I'm surrounded by renowned CEOs and that. But my mentors, I think, are my wife, who is a psychologist and has done a lot of work with severely abused young children, and I've seen her save lives, and that inspires me. And she's ferocious in how she cares about the people who come to her for help, adults and children, and my son, who is just a constant joy, and his outlook on life and is never fails to inspire me.
Why is being impactful
Oh,
important to you?
I think that again, it's if you're looking at how you justify the gift of life, part of that is you give back for what's been given to you, and in terms of the work that I do, again, I mean, I don't want us to lose humanity in business, and I recognize business serves a lot of masters. So the work we do will make the business case. We'll create the business performance for you if you're a client of ours. But that allows us to make the case for treating your culture a certain way. And if we can't tell a story of performance impact, then we can't get that work done. We can't cause a company to protect its culture and value its culture the way we want it to. So that's why it's important for us to have impact.
How do you start your day?
I'm not sure my day actually ever ends. So we do business in 44 countries. We have a team in Africa. We have people in Europe. It's like the sun never sets on the SLAP company empire. So I have no idea what time. I have no idea what year it is. So I have no good lessons to pass on to somebody else. I start my day with the first meeting. That's how I start my day.
Who is your ideal client?
Well, I think somebody who follows those 3 C's, who has their own character and their own desire to be great at what they do. They want to leave a legacy impact, and they want to be great.
What is the advice you would give to your younger self?
Well, I would say this is your one and only precious life. Someone is going to decide how it's going to be lived, and that person had better be you.
Wow, beautiful. How can we support you?
Well, if you are involved in running a company in any way at all, and you want to maximize the commitment of your manager, employee, and customer cultures, reach out. I see our website's on the screen, slapcompany.com, and we can talk to you about how to do that. And the books are available wherever books are sold, either of those ways.
What would you say about your guest experience on the show?
Oh, I've loved it. It's like speed dating. It's amazing. So you crammed a lot of stuff in a brief period of time. I appreciate that, and I'm honored by you asking me to be on the show and the opportunity to send this message.
What would you say as a final word?
I would say to anybody who's a manager, whether you're managing a company, whether you're managing a process, whether you're managing your company's customer relationship, if I had one piece of urgent advice to give to anybody as a manager, I would say be human first, a manager second.
Stan, thank you so much for your time and wisdom on the behalf of Entrepreneur Empowerment Club and its entire team. We really appreciate you.
Thank you,
And I
Mohammed.
look forward for, I hope our path cross again with another amazing values you shared on 3Cs. I loved it. And I'm looking forward for the amazing time ahead. See
Thank
you
you so
next
much.
time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.